Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today in this discussion, we will start our discussion with object-oriented programming with C#. To start the discussion, we have to understand two terminologies, objects and classes. So if you understand the definition of object, everything what we can see, we can touch and feel, that is an object around us. Object could be a computer, mouse, it could be a table, my home, everything which is near around us are the object basically. And all these objects are the objects of a class. Well, in that case, what is the class? So class basically comes from the word classification, which means that classifying a group of objects or group of resources based on the different attributes or the behavior or their properties. For an example, we all human being objects of a human class. So let's consider that a human is a class. So all the human beings across the world are the object of the class. All of we can walk, we can see, we can eat, we use our brain, we work and all those things. So we have almost certain type of behavior, and based on that behavior, it has been categorized that we all are human beings. Another example of a class is vehicle, any machine which helps us transporting an object from one place to other place. It could be a human object or a luggage or anything else is fall under the category of vehicle class. So vehicle, the object of these vehicle class is truck, bus, car, airplanes, ship. All these are the object of the vehicle class. If we extend the discussion of the vehicle class, we can take an example of the car, which is another type of a class. A car would have four wheels, a steering, a car would have a driver seat, co-passenger sitting beside the driver, passenger sitting behind back seat of the driver, and then the car will have some speed, mileage and all those sort of attributes. Any of certain type of vehicle which has these kind of attributes or behavior, they would basically the object of that particular class, car class. As we have got some understanding of classes and object, let's try and understand why do we need the analogy of classes and object into the programming world. So with modular programming or the linear programming structure, you create the functions to write your program. For an example, if you are developing a banking application with a modular object, you may have functions for opening a bank account, checking your balance, retrieving the money, depositing the money, and all those things. This is going to be a simple function which defines the different functionality of your program. So if you would like to perform any action, you write down those actions as in function. This principle works absolutely fine when your computer were used to use for developing a small scale application, but as in when the area or the reach of the computer grows for developing the large and complex application, there was a requirement wherein which requires a complex program to be written, which requires the object and the concept of the classes to be used in the world of the programming, and that is where the object-oriented principle and the classes in the object comes into the picture. Now let's see how do we define the classes and the object with C#. So I'm going to use my console application as always for the example. I have created a console application. As we have discussed earlier, whenever you create any application with C#, by default you get a class anyways. As in this case, we have got a program.cs. So CS is extension for a class. So anything which you see in the C# language with .cs, that represents the class. So here you can see that we have a main a class named program, and then you have got a method inside that particular class. Now, if I need to create a class again, what I can do is I can create a physical class by right clicking here on the project itself and click here on the class, and that will open the dialog box, which I can choose a class object type or the class type, and then I can define the name of my class. So I would say that a car class, and here we got our class. The difference between we have it with program class and car class, it's marked as an internal. That's the access modifier of the class. We'll discuss that what this access modifier are later, but for now let's pay attention to the class signature. We have a class as in keyword, and then you have a name of your class, which is car in this case. This is the namespace. I can make any other namespace. Now I could have the different properties and attributes declared. To declare the properties, you can use the keyword prop. You can double tap that, and then that's the syntax of the property. You need to have the access modifier, public, internal, read only, public, private, internal, protected. These are the kind of access modifier for your properties. Then you have to specify the data type of the properties. It could be a value type or it could be a reference type. Like we have a property as in mileage, defines as an integer, and then we'll have, so these are two attributes I have defined. There could be many attributes your class can have. Now on top of that, so I could have a method in the class, like the method I have created here, get a specification. Obviously I can define the method behavior like this. That's the state and the behavior. So that state is going to be represented by the attributes, and then you have the behavior which is represented by this public method. I could have one or many methods to my class. Now let's create an object of that class. In order to create an object, first we use the class as in variable. First you need to declare a variable of a class, which is the name having as in car. So car is the variable name. I would declare an object of that class. So you declare the object of that class with a new keyword. Whereas if you compare this object or this variable type, you are declaring this variable as in string type, and then you are directly assigning a value to that string. Because it is a value type of variable, so you can directly assign or allocate the value, and this value will be allocated into a memory. Whereas in the case of classes, where you create the instance of that class using the variable and then you use the keyword new, all the classes are by default are the reference type. So in order to instantiate the object, you use the keyword new, and using the new keyword means that you are telling compiler to allocate the memory for this class object into your system where the program is running. In this case, my car object is basically receiving a memory allocation of this car type. Now once I have this object, I can access the attribute of my classes with this instance type. As you can see that I have access to the mileage attribute. Similarly, I could have access to the other attributes, which is, let's say, speed. I can, as it is type of integer, you can provide any values to the integer. Now things to remember here is, as these attributes are get and set type, we can set and get the values out of it. So here we are setting it, but at the same time, if you would like, we can get the value as well. Also at the same time, you can access the behavior of the class as well, which in this case you can see that we have a get specification method which we have created in the class, and that is how we can access the behavior, or you can make use of that behavior of this class. So basically I'm saying that using this object, I want to make use of this behavior by calling this particular method. Now if you would have seen the IntelliSense, we have some other methods as well which are not part of the class which we have declared, because in C# whenever you declare the class, as the class is our type of objects and that is inherited by default by system.object type. So all these methods which you see, which are not actually direct part of the class, are basically the method of the object class itself. And that is why from the parent, which is a system.object, is a parent of each and every class, these methods are derived by the child classes and its object of the class. Simply, if I would like to write the value of these attributes, I can simply write it like this. We are just printing the mileage. Similarly, I can print the speed as well. Just to show you, we have a car class and then the car object. As soon as I've created the object, by default there is no memory allocated, hence the object of this class is showing the value as in null. But as soon as I will press F10, this line will be executed and this new keyword will allow this object to allocate a memory with respect to this class. And this basically, in short, this class will be alive. As you can see that this class is alive, and now this object is able to access all its attribute, which is this two attributes and the method as well. So we are setting the value of these attributes. By default it was 0 because the default value of integer was 0, but now as we have set the value of those two attributes to 1, we can access these attributes with the value 1. As we are now in this line, we are making call to the specification function. Now if I press F11, I can go into the definition of the method which has been declared inside this class. As you can see that, suppose that if we would have any functionality written inside that we could have accessed that, but as of now for this demo the definition is empty. So but still the point is we are able to make a call to the class method, and here finally we are printing the value of these objects, and that is the result looks like. So that's about the classes in the object. How do you declare the class in C#? How do you set the attributes to the class, set the behavior or the methods to the class, and then how you instantiate a class, set the attribute of the class and access the method of the class at the same time. So that's about the demonstration. I hope you have found this useful, and in the next demo we will use this concept of the class to learn the object-oriented principles. Till then, keep watching the other videos. In case if you have any queries, do let me know and write your questions in the comment box. I will try and give the answer as soon as I can. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.